Wonderful, thank you. Welcome, everybody. Before we begin, I would love to ask Trustee Horn, thank you for acknowledging this land background.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to thank and respect the Tsimshian people whose territory we hold our meeting on. Thank you.
Thank you. And number one, adoption of the agenda, and there is an amendment to the agenda. And that amendment is to the scheduling of the budget meetings, and we will be looking at shifting the dates of our meetings, and Enrique will speak to that later in the meeting. And I say Trustee Dalton, approved as amended, great, and seconder,
I have a question.
please.
Where is
Let's second it.
where is it going in the agenda?
We gotta second it first.
Thank you, Trustee Beal. Trustee Horn,
Where is it going in the agenda?
we would put this under you, would we not? Secretary Treasurer report?
Yep.
Right. We'll put this under Secretary Treasurer report.
An additional 7.6 then?
Yes. Is that right for you? Sure. 7.1?
Or 7.6.
I don't know, what do you prefer?
Sure.
I'd like to make this 7.1. We would like to make this 7.1, and then we will move down all the other items.
Okay.
Great. All in favor? So moved. Thank you. I would now love to pass this over to you, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, trustees and everyone else here today. We are fortunate to have Judy Riddell and Kim Williams, who will be helping us understand the roots of empathy and what we can do to help our students with it.
Where would you like me?
Yeah.
Wanted to also add that Judy and Kim are from the Childcare Resource Referral Agency, and Kim is the educator for the organization, and Judy is the program manager. More about this.
Thank you.
You want, and we're all not doing this alone. We're not doing this alone. I do believe that there it is. Okay, so as was said, my name is Kimberly Williams. I'm a residency facilitator. They call us instructors. I don't necessarily like that term. I prefer facilitation because I'm only there to support the children and the families in the room. I figured out today, I've been doing this for 10 years. I didn't realize it had been that long. I love it. I absolutely love it. We started this year. This is probably the most classes I've ever done. We have 5 classes on the go right now. The average instructor only does 1. But after talking with Susan, we felt it was great to just try and get it everywhere we possibly could. And I've had many families come to me and ask me if they can bring their babies in for next year. So I already have a full table, which is wonderful. We're gonna skip the video because it's really long and it's not one of our babies. So the mission statement is to build caring and peaceful and civil societies through the development of empathy in children and adults. These are all of our rubric classes. In our programs, a volunteer baby and their parent, or a parent and their baby visit the classroom over the school year. It takes a full year to do an entire roots program in a classroom. There are 27 classes, so we have to be really strategic. Each class is broken down into 3 sessions or lessons. So the first lesson is a pre-lesson where I would go into the classroom by myself, and every class or every theme has a specific topic. So one will be, what do you feed your baby? The next topic will be, how does your baby sleep? What is your baby doing? How is your baby growing? There's several different topics. Kate is smiling because she remembers. There's even things like, what do you do when you go out with baby? And yes, we actually take everything out of the diaper bag and inspect everything in the diaper bag. And the kids are really engaged. It's amazing. The next visit, we actually bring the baby in. And we talk about all of the things that baby has learned in that 3 weeks, because it's a 3-week sort of rotation. We talk about everything babies learn, what they can do now, what they don't want to do. Are they eating? Are they sleeping? All of those things. And then we talk about the topic that we brought up the week before. And we ask mom all kinds of questions. And most of the time, mom and I could probably leave the room. They don't care. The teachers and I will talk, the mom and teachers will talk, but the children are so engrossed in what baby is doing. And what baby can do and what baby doesn't do, that, like I said, we could leave and nobody even noticed. So, so independent research has found that children in the Roots of Empathy program experience. The third one? Oh, I'm sorry. The third one is a wrap up. Also, they don't care if I'm there because they will ask, is baby coming today? I have to tell them. Sorry, it's just. Yeah, and we just talk about what we learned. There's usually a story if it's the younger grades. This program goes from kindergarten all the way to grade 8. And the program is designed so that each developmental level or grade level, the activities are appropriate, the questions are appropriate, the conversation is appropriate, and nothing is off limits. If they have something that they want to talk about, we'll talk about it. If they want to disclose to me, they can do that in the safety of me and my comfort zone. It's a really nice way to bond with children and to get children to be able to trust. Because a lot of times trust is a huge thing. So yeah, going back to these pictures here, this little one on the left, she was my program a couple of years ago. Take a really good look at the little face of the young man that's in front of her. I have a story in a minute about him. You can see this is some of the research that they've done for the Roots of Empathy, which started in 1996. So they've been at this for a long time. They know what they're doing, and it's worldwide. So there are instructors all over the world. It's a very large organization. Didn't start out that way, of course, but it's growing exponentially, which is wonderful. And we found that children are better to one another, and they're better to everything and everyone. They start paying attention, and empathy is a real problem for our children. It's not something that comes easy. The 100 program, I will admit, I don't know a whole lot about it, and there's not a lot of information about it, but it is an organization that, I'm gonna read it to you because trying to remember all the big words is terrible. So they are a mission-driven organization helping every child flourish through education innovation. We at 100 are dedicated to improving the access and quality of education through impactful and scalable innovations. We curate innovations through our robust research process, host a database of over 700 reviewed innovations, and provide tools for implementing them successfully. This work is shared through our rapidly expanding community in over 100 countries. And as you can see, Roots of Empathy makes the Hall of Fame wall often. So there's our little guy and my little girl. So a couple of years ago, this young man, he didn't talk in class. He didn't engage. He was very withdrawn. Teacher knew a bit of the background, gave me a little bit of a history because I would try and bring him into conversations and he just was not having any part of this. But for some reason, our little one really seemed to know that he was having a hard time. And out of nowhere, one day we're all sitting around the little green carpet and he yelled out, "It's looking at me." He was mortified. But after that, he seemed to, I don't know if she winked at him or I don't know, but she had a little bit of magic. And next thing you know, she's gravitating to him, and he would sit in the same place every time we had a class. And she would gravitate to him. And I always tease the children, you know what, one of these days, because when they go in at 2 months, they're not really doing a whole lot. You wait, she's gonna be pulling on your shoelaces. Sure enough, his shoes were completely the target. And they just, for some reason, they bonded, they clicked. And this was probably one of the last visits that we had with this little girl, and they were doing cleanup and then they were sent off to centers and they could go do whatever they wanted. And he grabbed a bucket of blocks and we turned around and there they were down on the floor, nose to nose, playing with the blocks. And I thought, haha, there we go, we win, we connected.
Nice.
Yeah, beautiful. So this is one of my little one from this year from Roosevelt. And I'm doing 2 classes in Roosevelt, and I've not, this is a new grade for me, so I've never done, I had only ever done kindergarten. So this year I'm doing a grade 2-3 split, a grade 3-4 split, and a grade 5. So these are all new to me, and the questions are, like I said, the curriculum is slightly different.
As well as the 2 other.
And then I have the 2 kindergartens in Conrad. So Mom was really concerned because when she arrived, the one had just gone to sleep. And I'm like, you know what, that's okay. We can do our conversation with you. The kids are not gonna be nearly as happy, but you know, you're important too. So they were all really good, and I gave them a little warning when we sing. I don't wanna wake her, we don't wanna make loud noises. I didn't notice, Mom didn't notice, the teachers didn't notice anything. But one young man who is quite vocal yelled, "Her eyes are open!" And after that, Mom and I could have gone for coffee, because all of a sudden it was, like I say, it was like she had parted the seas. And all eyes were on our little Abby, so they have magic and they bring people together. This is a testimonial from the other grade. The 2 teachers, ironically, in Roosevelt that I have are new teachers. So this is, they're not only are they new to this classroom environment, but they're also really new to Roots of Empathy. And I can read it for you. It says, as a first-year teacher, the program has helped me to build a foundation for when I need to support the students to resolve conflict. I bring in the language from the program in my day-to-day teaching. I often reference back to how our baby would feel if that happened to her. And I really appreciate the lessons on the brain and on our emotions. We do talk about brain development and connections and child development in general as well. So they do get some math, they get some science, they get all of that stuff all rolled into this beautiful little bucket full of human. One example of something that I noticed is some of the students, when they see a classmate cry, they often hug and console them, where before they wouldn't have even asked what was wrong. I've given the opportunity, I would do this program again in the future. So to me, that's a win. That's great, and I would love to continue it. This is the same classroom. And this comes from a student in the grade 3-4 class. 2 students indicated that the class seems a lot calmer when the baby's visiting. Well, yeah, it truly is. Even when the baby is not there, the class is not as noisy as before, and I have more friends this year. So that tells you something right there. This one broke my heart. This was a parent that had gone the entire year, had done the entire program with me, with her little dude, and he was wonderful. And I remembered, you know, about a month after we had finished that I had forgotten to give her a book. All the parents get a book from Roots of Empathy written specifically. So I went to her house and dropped it off to her, and she said, you know, I have to tell you, this full year was absolutely horrendous for me. My partner and I are going through a breakup. And I had no idea. I mean, it's none of my business. But she kept it very quiet. She said, and if it weren't for looking forward to what Roots of Empathy can do, I don't know where I'd be. She said it was the one thing that she had to look forward to some days. That made it all worthwhile for me. Okay, so this is one of the kindergarten classes, kindergarten grade 1 splits in Conrad. This just happened recently, but it again solidified my belief in the program. So the fire that happened in the Sherbrooke apartments, it affected a lot of people in town, and you know, it has been an absolutely horrendous experience for a lot of people. I don't know who in the schools has been through this situation or not. I'm certainly not privy to that kind of information. But a young man, and I don't know if he's in the picture or not, I don't see him. I didn't know his family had been displaced. So very quiet young man, and he came over to me and got right up against my knee, and I was sitting in a chair, got right up next to my leg and was telling me quietly that his family was, you know, had been through this fire. And so I said to him, where are you staying? Like, you know, like, how are you doing? And I was trying to be empathetic and a little bit sympathetic. And he said, well, I'm staying with my grandma and grandpa, and pretty soon we'll be able to go home. I said, well, that's wonderful news. He said, what about Baby Viva? And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, well, what if her house got on fire? Where would she go? I had explained to them several classes earlier that my family was from South Africa. They moved here and had no family here. So technically in his brain, they have lots of close friends and people that moved with them and that kind of thing. But in his mind, she was all alone. So right there, like, how often do children really think that way? And I do think that because they have this connection to this tiny little person who has this wealth of knowledge just by being alive, has really brought out the empathy that a lot of our children are really starving for. This is a classroom picture. A lot of Roots of Empathy is reflecting. So we do a lot of drawings of pictures, and if baby dreams, what do you dream about? And tell me, if you draw me a picture of your worst dream, or what you wish for baby, or, there's certain topics. And this is one of the ones that, this has been around, this picture, for quite some time. And it says, I would teach the world to understand that we are all unique and we all have the same feelings. So, and it got chosen to be in, I'm not even sure what school it's from, but I see a lot of those. I'm gonna let you explain this, or Susan.
This is not, I
don't
don't
see
saw
that.
once or twice. Yeah, Judy, no, it just basically shows you over time. I can't really see here from 2004 when it first started. This is for our school district. So we had 7 classes back in 2004, and then you can just see as years progressed, there was sort of a dip, which you can speak to. And then this year we're at 5 classes, so it's been around, and we're just hoping that we can, start to increase and encourage more classes to participate in this program, because I really have seen the value. Because even over the years, when I was a principal of the elementary schools, it's been going on, and we just really have a positive vibe and feeling about the program and the family. It really is. You want to add anything?
Yeah, I will add a little bit. So the beginning there, actually Mary Gordon, who is from Ontario, she's a teacher in Ontario, developed this program. She actually came here to Prince Rupert and did some presentations, and we got some facilitator training. So at the beginning, when you see the more classes, the facilitators were coming from other institutions like businesses or ministries. And there were more of them in town. So as Kim said, usually it's one because it was a volunteer position at that time. And then things, people moved away. And so we dropped the number of classes that could be supported, and it kind of fluctuated a little bit. Depending on the number of facilitators that were available. And then there's the gap, is the COVID gap, where they didn't do anything. And then the next 3 years are when Barry Patch stepped up, supporting Kim as a new, well, she's been working for us for quite a while, but we were able to expand her hours. And this also fits in to one of our mandates. So we thought it's such a valuable program, couldn't we give as much time as possible for Kim to do this in the schools? So this last year, as Kim pointed out, she's done some different grades. The first ones were kindergarten, and also Kim was actually volunteering for a long time during that previous years before COVID, and there were, I think, 3 other maybe facilitators doing courses at that time. 2 or 3.
I know of 2 for sure.
Yeah, but now we're down to just Kim at this point, working on the program. So we kind of hit our max as far as what Barry Patch can enable Kim to do, because she has other chores and things for us. Work. Chores. Things she has to do for us as well. So it circles a little bit around the facilitators, and if we could get some more trained up in the area. There are Roots of Empathy is kind of changed a little bit too as time went on, and they found that the volunteer facilitator is very hard for people to find that time, and businesses to find the time to release their.
I used to miss
There's
my lunches to go and run a Roots class. I would work my lunch hours at my other jobs so that I could go in and do a Roots class.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
because I do believe in it.
Yeah, it's very worthwhile. I think it's very beneficial to the children as well as the teachers, as well as the adults, like parent, as you got the quote from the parent, how important that was for her. And I think that it really helped socially with social challenges that are in schools these days. Difficulties with communication and, the problem with bullying and so forth, right? It's all wound up in there, and every grade has its own curriculum, and it's very amenable to being woven into other areas of the deliverables in the teachers' programs, right? It's comes with lots of supporting information for teachers and activities that could be used in class. Yeah.
I also noticed that now that I've been doing this for as many years as I have, I did not realize it was that many. That it stays with them. I still have kids that were in my first roots class that yell, "Hello, Miss Kim," from the parking lots. And I mean, for me, my heart grows two sizes like the Grinch, but if it's sticking with them, then what else is sticking with them? What other things are they taking away from this program that they will take forever? And that's my hope for them, is that they're able to take it and, and sort of pay it forward.
Yeah, the reason I got sold on it was my daughter was lucky enough to have one of the first classes, and she was, I think, in grade 2 or 3. By grade 5 or 6, we were walking in the parking lot in the mall parking lot, and she's way back here, and there's somebody up there walking. And she said, "Mom, that's my facilitator." She went running and gave her a big hug. And I thought, oh, I said, well, what is this thing? So, the baby and this class and all of, very excited about the whole thing. So she'd remembered.
Yes, oh yeah,
Over
they
those
don't
years.
forget, they're like
Yeah.
little elephants, it's wonderful. Yeah, but.
Oh, are we over?
I believe we're almost finished anyway.
Yeah, unless there's some question.
One more, oh, yeah, see, there we go.
It's you.
Just it's just so easy to go on and on, but we
Yes.
just basically wanted to say that this has been a partnership. And I really got involved this year with Kim and trying to, find some classrooms that would be able to participate, and it's just been nothing but positive. So, and we have a relationship with childcare as well. Very passionate myself in this position, so we appreciate their support. And we really would like to see, this growth in our district. Yes, because grassroots helps with social emotional learning. It starts right from there. So, yeah. Testament.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's not a question.
Oh.
It's something that I went through myself. I was a facilitator and I spent 1 year in Hartley Bay.
Oh, right.
Yes, we did the roots of empathy in Hartley Bay. And even today, sometimes I see them coming over and say, this is Sandra. But honestly, I really think that it helps the children socially and emotionally. Because they learn, and when they see that babies getting that feeling, that empathy, that's love. And some kids who would be fighting and things like that just turned over because of the kindness that's there.
It's the
So,
unconditional acceptance.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So I would encourage as many people, send in the school. It's just wonderful. I spent the whole year out in Hartley Bay with that program, and I think it helped. And I really like to see it continued in our schools. It works socially and emotionally at the same time. Thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure, honestly.
I'm really impressed with your enthusiasm for the program, and how valuable it is to the kids, and how dedicated you are, and how you found something that
It's a
you
passion.
really like to
Me
do.
too, I love it,
And
yeah.
both of you, creates such benefits for our community, so thank you very much for the work you do.
Any further questions? Thank you both so much for coming and thank you.
Thank you for letting us.
Great presentation, and I think we have many fans here that have experience with roots of empathy, and thank you for sharing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
So approval of the minutes of the open board meeting. Trustee Beal, seconded trustee Horn. All in favor? So moved. Wonderful. And the necessity of the closed meeting and agenda. Trustee Horn,
41349.
thank you. Seconded trustee Dalton, all in favor? So moved. Correspondence addressed to the board, 5.1.1, which is of the board, trustee Meyer.
For this one, just to, receive and file. Because we're talking about it later on in the agenda.
Seconder. Trustee Dalton. All in favor? So moved. 5.1.2. Trustee Meyer.
Yeah, I want to, thank the parents, and the person that sent us a package with the petition and the letters, and that, you know, we read them, we've all read them, and your voices are heard. I would like to make a motion, though, to send the package back to management, as I'm aware that there is a collective agreement procedure issue. But that your voices have been heard.
And is there a seconder to that motion? Trustee Dalton. Any further
I'd
comments?
like to talk about that. I read the package and as I've stated and time again, how I support these and the library systems. And so quite frankly, I think that I would expect both senior management, our secretary treasurer and our superintendent to really delve into the report, and I'd hope for a satisfactory response out of that.
Any further comments? And we have a motion on the floor, all in favor? So moved, thank you. And 5.2, none. Superintendent of Schools report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Number of things. First of all, 6.1.1 is field trips. In your package, you'll see a short summary. I know you've all read your calendars and your events, everything before the meeting. I can move on to 6.1.2.
Oops, I don't see any questions.
In your package are the calendars. Now, you'll recall that the first calendar you already approved and was submitted to the ministry. And now it's the calendars for the 26-27 and 27-28 years that are waiting approval.
We have received a letter.
The birds are talking to us.
The wishes of the board. Trustee Meyer.
I'll make a motion to approve the calendar. for
I'll second it. Trustee Beal? Any comments?
No,
Not seeing any? Oh, please.
just that I believe we've heard back from unions and that it's approved at their level, so, yeah.
And I would add as well, all stakeholders and.
Yes,
rights
yes,
holders.
sorry, that's what I meant with stakeholders, thank you.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. All in favor? So moved. Thank you.
Next, Madam Chair, I invite for 6.1.3, I invite Assistant Superintendent Sandra Pond to update us on enrollment.
So, you'll see that on page 25 and 26, we've got some information on enrollment. The graph is on page 25, and you'll see that we're holding our own at this point. And that we're still at about 62% for our Indigenous student count. I've added the table on the back so you can see how things ebb and flow. There's always ins and outs, as we say, students that are leaving us, students that are arriving, so it's very interesting to watch the process. So, any questions? Anyone might have?
Not seeing any.
Thank you. And next is upcoming projects, learning and other, a number of exciting things. Many of you are aware that the Charles Hayes Concert Band and Jazz Band earned silver at the Pacific Northwest Music Festival. The jazz band received the top mark in the senior jazz division. That's wonderful to hear. They're really good. Charles Hayes students participated in the Taking Care of Ourselves and Others presentation, a powerful and engaging workshop by Children of the Street. The session raised awareness about exploitation and online safety while empowering students with practical strategies to protect themselves and support each other. Staff and students from PCS and Charles Hayes attended the Inspire conference in Vancouver. This is a, I believe it's yearly. It's a conference that empowers Indigenous youth, and they gather Indigenous students from around Canada, and it's like a massive career fair where they get to explore different careers. They have hands-on activities for them to do in science and technology, engineering and math, and all the universities are there as well to talk about their unique programs and to get kids excited about what do you do after you graduate. Conrad Elementary has participated in a salmon dissection. They did a gymnastics field trip and bridge building out of popsicle sticks, which is a favorite every year. They'll be hosting a family bingo night this Thursday. Roosevelt will begin track and field practices for grades 4 and 5 classes on April 23rd. Grade 4 student learning surveys will be happening along with student-led conferences. Pine Ridge will be holding student-led conferences, grade 4 student survey, learning surveys, and book fairs will happen this week, and classes have continued to hold mindfulness sessions. Yeah, that's good. April 29th, some of the students will be going to the hatchery to release the little fry. Yeah, I was gonna say little fish, but fry would be correct. Lane student-led conferences will happen on April 16th and 17th. Is what I have. PRMS counselor visits with grade 5 students will occur this week to aid in the transition to middle school. And Lane has begun the Anxious Generation Book Club. PRMS Medieval Fair was a huge success. Theme days included Blue Shirt Days for Autism Awareness, Green Shirt Day for the Humboldt tragedy in Saskatchewan, and Organ Donor Awareness. April 29th will be a new school cleansing ceremony. Senior students from Hartley Bay School had the opportunity to hunt and then harvest a seal, encompassing the entire process from hunting to skinning, preparing the skin through tanning, extracting the grease, and preparing the meat for a communal feast. French program, many of you are aware that there is a French advisory group that meets 3 times a year. And this is a group to look at the overall, the 30,000-foot view of the French language programs. Trustee Dalton was in attendance. And a number of things that were discussed were about 19 students have registered for French immersion for next September. And currently there are 6 families signed up for the Roosevelt before and after school care program, with more expected to come. And Susan Kobza might have better news on that, more up to date. We are looking at taking French practicum teachers for next year, and that's something new. And then a lot of French language resources through the OLEP funding have been purchased for all the grades K to 12. The French theater presentation, a Vancouver-based group, Theater 16e, will be performing a piece for French immersion students at Roosevelt for the and for students from the middle school, K to 8. Some purchase of technologies, and also I just have to say that the PACs have been helping out with large donations to co-fund some of the technology purchases to keep the equipment fresh. As you know, the technology budget, I will say this in front of my colleague, the technology budget is frequently challenged. numerous reductions have been made over the years and partnering with our PACs is wonderful, but we know the PACs also have other things. The demand for the resources is very severe. Early learning and childcare, of course, Susan is here, but Ready, Set, Learn sessions at each elementary school have been happening, as well as an evening session at the Family Connection Center, which takes place mid-April or took place.
No, tomorrow.
No, tomorrow night. Okay, and you're doing some in May as well, right? These sessions are for 3 to 4-year-olds to introduce them to the neighborhood schools and to meet the Strong Start coordinators and school staff. The Conrad Seamless Day Kindergarten Childcare Program is accepting registration for the summer again. This program will run from July 2nd to August 15th. Roosevelt Before and After School Care Program is fully licensed and is accepting registrations. 6 families have registered so far. School reports that kindergarten French immersion registration has increased this year, likely due to the new childcare program, which will be opening in September. And of course, we would add that the program we've been announcing for a long time, the new childcare facility will be sending out what's called the request for proposals from architects for the $13.8 million that we received from the ministry to build a building. And it will have 144 students in it. Next, if Roberta is online, and Roberta, if there's anything you'd like to add on programs in your department.
Hi, yeah, I can add some and I can take some off because you've already talked about it. So Indigenous education updates for April 2025 is continue to do the monthly seasonal learning with elementary schools facilitated by our curriculum specialist teachers, focused on herring eggs, which is Swanach. The year-end session for change of results for young children was on April 10th. Continuing the theme of place-based and land-based learning with activities at the Saltwater Marsh and cumulative project at Wapsigaget, led and hosted by Lisa Scher in the Indigenous Education Department. The young matriarchs group were selected to attend the Inspire. Andrew talked about that. Soaring National Youth Empowerment Gathering in Vancouver, April 8th to 9th. They heard from youth panelists, celebrities, performers, including Snotty Nose Res Kids, which is quite exciting. I was jealous. And attended a trade show with educational and vocational opportunities for youth. Over 1,200 youth attended and they participated in the biggest round dance in the place. Hartley Bay and Pacific Coast School also were selected to bring students to attend as well. April 24th, Wapsigaget will be hosting a team from SD54 Smithers who would like to collaborate and learn more about teaching Indigenous focused courses in collaboration with Wapsigaget, and educators from Charles Hayes will also be gathering for an Indigenous focused course collaboration, learning and resource sharing. And on April 25th is our Pro-D. Wapsigaget will be hosting a professional development session for teachers on seasonal learning and traditional foods of how to prepare and cook with a focus on herring eggs, which is Swanach, and seaweed, which is Hlask. And that's it.
Thanks, Roberta. 6.1.4.1, Sandra Pond has an interesting program to share.
Yeah, thank you. We were pretty excited to be approached by the Society for Children and Youth of BC, along with the City of Prince Rupert, to consider a walking school bus in School District 52. So we're in the process right now of doing a survey with all the families at Conrad Elementary, just to see who would be interested. And I think the part that I was excited about was that they're going to provide what they call a walk leader. So they will hire that person, and it may be one of our staff members actually that puts their hand up for that. But they will look after that piece for us, and they will look forward, or they will put the route together. And so Yeah, so the families just have to participate by putting their hand up and telling them, you know, what they wish. And so this, it's like a traditional yellow school bus, but it's a walking bus. It's a group of students who travel to and from school each day along a designated route, stopping along the way to pick up more students. So it's just, we're excited about it. Conrad is also doing an inquiry around attendance. And so we're wondering if this is a piece that will help with attendance as well. So, and the idea is that next year, maybe we'll have a walking school bus on the west side of town, so. So excited, very excited.
That's pretty exciting.
Nice.
Like that, like that.
And that is our reports,
Wonderful.
Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mandy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Roberta.
Thank you, Bert.
All right, Secretary Treasurer's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the first item, 7.1, 2025-26 budget. According to the 25. So according to the 25-26 annual budget consultation calendar, today we were going to do the first budget by law reading. However, considering the current economic environment, together with the fact that I have been working for the school district for just 5 months, I would like to request this board to modify the calendar to do the first reading on May 20th and do second and third reading on June 17th. The main purpose of this request is to have more time to work on different information tools that we need to better project the budget for next year. Also, that is going to help me to identify financial and operating trends for this school year. And finally, keep working with the team on improving different internal controls I have identified where we can improve efficiencies, or efficient processes and internal procedures. So hopefully, but I don't know if you have any questions.
Trustee Horn.
Well, first make such motion that change is made.
Great, and a seconder, Trustee Dodson. Great, and then please, Trustee Horn.
So first reading, May 22nd, June 17th. Third reading, I assume, would be in the open board meeting of June. Is that correct?
Yes.
Third reading, right? And I would also ask.
Sorry, Trustee Horn, May 20th, right? Did I hear
May
22nd?
May 20.
Yeah,
Sorry,
sorry, I thought you said 22nd.
Sorry.
Thank you.
May 20, June 17th. I also would like to ask, I know what you've said there about the reasoning for making this change. I'd like to ask what difficulties you're having in forecasting the budget and what the issues are.
Thank you for the question. There are different reasons. The first one is we are changing together with the Director of Finance, trying to improve different reports that I don't know if those are new to the school district, but let me give you an example. Starting October 2024, I believe was the first time where the finance department was able to provide a statement of operations, which means we are now not looking just at the expense side of the equation, we are looking at the revenue and then the expenses. So one of the first activities that I did working for the school district is, I think was a belief that try to identify the revenues were almost impossible. Sorry, I think it's the way I heard. And it took me some time, probably December, to work on investigating, putting together information, and be able to actually identify the revenues per month that the school district is receiving, mainly from the Ministry of Education. The other part is understand the environment financial environment that the school district is working right now. Something I have been spending a lot of time during these 5 months, and different people that is working with me can confirm that, is I am, again, every time I receive an invoice from anybody, I'm asking questions about contracts, about who's approving this expense, why we're paying for this expense. And one of the main reasons I'm doing this kind of analysis is to considering the financial situation of the school district, is understand those trends, those requirements. And as you can imagine, it's not just that my job is not just doing that. Right now, and I'm sure that the public knows that, the school district is dealing with the middle school project. We're dealing with childcare facility. Thank you. We are also dealing with a commercial kitchen. And there are other different projects that we're working on. And we, as you know, we have, thanks to Brittany, which by the way is a very great co-worker. And so we have Brittany as director of finance. We have Danny, we have all the other individuals in the team, but this is a small team. So we need to move fast. And again, I think I need to be, this position requires me to be transparent on what I'm projecting, on what I have. And again, what I have right now is not enough information to properly project what is going to happen the next year. So at least again, the reason of this request is to have more information for April and May. And then I know that during June, the current practice of the school district is recognize different expenses until June. So I cannot change things that I don't know at this point, but also during this process, I'm learning and I'm also sharing different techniques and experience that I have, not just from the public sector, but also from the for-profit sector. And it's something that I'm trying to change in the school district. So sorry for all this broad information, but hopefully it gives an idea to the public why I'm requesting this extension.
Don't need to apologize, that's very good, thank you. Second part of my question, if I may, is use of the strategic plan, maybe perhaps you and Andrew to answer. I know that we are schooled in using the strategic plan in budgeting so that we get the best results for what our goals are. And so how do we go about doing that?
Yes, thank you, Trustee Horn. One of the things that we've always said is that the strategic plan rolls into school plans, but also what are called operational plans. So you guys give us the strategic plan, and then what we do is we operationalize that. We operationalize the plan on literacy, numeracy, equity, and mental health literacy. And so that's what we tag with funds to make sure that we are supporting what you've told us to do. It does get a bit confusing because there are how many special purpose funds, which that's other ministry money that they don't care what you're doing. That's here, we're giving you money for French language resources. We're giving you money for name a program. There's all sorts of different programs. And some of them are really small amounts of money, right? Some of them are larger. But what we do is we create an operational plan, and you've probably seen it because we show you the operational plan. And so we list the objectives of under equity. What are we doing under equity? There's a large number of activities that go on under each of these categories, and you'll find them in our annual enhancing student learning plan, which it's on the website, and it's 100 pages.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah, there's a lot of pages, but in there you'll find our operational plan and our equity plan, which are probably the two most important ones that you should look at. That's about 5 pages total. And in that, we identify all the activities that we're doing in support of the strategic plan.
And if I could just add as well, Sandy Pond adds every month. We've incorporated data now into our meetings. So every month under under the framework for enhanced student learning, right? We're hearing data as well as your report as to how the decisions that we're making here is, under governance, is transferring into operation.
Thank you. It's good to hear that strategic plan goals are being maintained, at least the existing strategic plan today.
What I would like to add
Please.
is, following on what our superintendent just mentioned, is another part that I'm working with the team is all the special purpose funds that we have available at the school district is to ensure that we are, again, strategic, following, of course, our planning. So again, there are many areas that we're working together with the team, not just with the accounting finance team, but also with IT, with facilities and maintenance. So again, I would like to change everything in one day, but this takes time.
Thank you.
Any other questions? So we have a motion on the floor to amend the schedule as it has been presented. All in favor? So moved.
Thank you. So 7.2, March, on page 27, the March financial statement of operations is included. So I think I have a kind of good news then. So total revenues at the end of March were 20.6 million, 20.624 million, compared to a budget of 20.6. So we have a around $24,000 better than expected. And then total expenses, we have pretty much, it's just $1,728 positive variance. So the surplus for the period from July 24 to March 25 is 25,495. So again, some trends that we are looking in accounting, are looking a little bit better than expected, but there is still a long way to go. We're talking about 3 more months, and we're tracking expenses and revenues as close as we can. And so I will open the floor to the trustees in case you have any questions.
Trustee Horn.
Thank you, Ricky. You were saying earlier that in your explanation from one of my earlier questions about how you were working on discovering revenue, is that why you just said that you were surprised to find that this number of revenue needed to be inserted into the budget? Is that what's going on there?
No, my initial comment, are you talking about my initial comment from previous month?
Yeah.
Yes, so again, I believe in the past, the board was provided with just an expenditure report, which was just showing, total budget for the year is X amount, and the total expenditure at a specific time is Y. Then we have this variance and represents 80%. But I think at that time, but maybe you were not provided this with the other portion of the equation, which was the revenue. So what I have provided in the past is a trend of the money that we receive from the ministry, which is the majority of the revenues that we receive at the school district. And what I saw is a majority of the revenues that the school district receives. I don't have the graph with me in front of me, but as far as I remember, it's the last 3 months of the school year is where the majority of the money is coming. So that's the reason when you are looking at the statement of operations at the beginning of the year, we were looking at a deficit at the end of, let's say, October, November, was in $500,000 deficit. And the question is why? Why we're spending all this money? No, what happens is the timing of the revenues comes later during the school year. So those are the information that I have been learning, during these 5 months. It's totally different. I think the good thing about the school district is that you have money already authorized or granted by the ministry. That changes based on the enrollment that happens at the end of September and February and all that. But those were the challenges, I think, in the past for the board to be able to really see the whole picture, financial picture of the school district. So I think there are more work to be done in this part, but at least now we are able to provide this financial picture to you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
You're looking at me. I'm just listening tonight. Taking it all in. You know where I stand.
Please.
So next point is 7.3, minor capital plan. That is page 30. So okay, so the minor capital projects, on March 25, we received response letter, I think is the name, from the Ministry of Infrastructure, approving the minor capital projects that were submitted back in June 2024. So this is just a formality from the ministry approving the projects that are shown in page, actually it's page 29. And just a brief description of the projects that were approved is fire protection for Conrad, fire protection system for Roosevelt, HVAC upgrades phase 3 for Charles Hayes, HVAC upgrades phase 3 for Roosevelt. And those are the main ones. I will open the floor for the trustees in case of any question.
Can I ask a
Trustee
question?
Beal?
What's the difference between a CNCP, Kevin sitting over there, and an SCP?
You want to?
Well,
Kevin's here.
I'll ask
Kevin's
Kevin.
Okay, special education planning for it's how the government, I'm not quite sure, Enrique and I are working that out, what we classify that under. CNCP is carbon neutral program.
Oh, can I ask about that? Because I really need to know. Since Prime Minister Carney is dropping the carbon tax, I know it's not going to be on commercial enterprises, but what will this mean for school districts? Have you
Heard.
talked to Ministry of anyone about this?
Personally,
It's a big cost to us. I mean, for just residential people, I mean, my natural gas bill at any given time is $80 for carbon tax, right? So,
no, I hear you. Actually, there's a study that we need to provide at the end of this month, the carbon neutral report, it's called. And that is basically an analysis of the carbon emissions, for my understanding is that.
yeah,
And then there's a calculation and any amount, basically that report assess an amount that you have to pay for carbon tax, right? But I can do,
yes, you do.
I can do additional research and provide a specific.
Well, I think we need to delve into that. That's a little cost savings to the district overall, because we're not a commercial entity. We are a school district, right? So we might be exempt from the carbon credits, right? Where we have to, reduce to ensure we don't pay, right?
Now, I believe that money, any money that we ended up paying, actually, we received, I'm sorry. I believe that we received that money from the ministry as well. So it's kind of a.
Good meeting. Well,
But I'm sorry, but
Andrew might know.
Well, it's, part of it was, I believe it was $17,000 last year, and then there was a reduction. But it's not the Ministry of Education and Childcare, it's through a commission for greenhouse gas reduction.
Yes.
But the government mandated all government agencies, fisheries, forestries, everybody has to produce these reports. So, and I have not been told by the ministry that we're exempt from.
The reason why I'm asking is because my understanding is the more you reduce your greenhouse gas, the less you actually, like, you get credits, right? Greenhouse gas credits, and so if the government, the federal government, which transferred over to the provincial government, got rid of the consumer tax now, what will it mean for school districts? That's all I'm asking. Maybe it's something to look into, that's all.
Yeah, I can work on.
Yeah, maybe look into it.
Yeah.
Trustee Horn.
A couple of things. First one is I believe what trustee Beal is speaking to is a campaign promise. Not elected yet, and so I wouldn't want to burden staff with something that's not actually in place.
Oh, hold on right
that
now,
correct?
hold on, no, you got that all wrong.
Okay,
The provincial government has taken it away, not the federal government.
Understand.
So the federal government is not elected yet, but it's the provincial government that has effective April 1st.
Right.
Got rid of it, so it's nothing to do with the promise, a campaign promise.
But you did say county, so that's federal.
And I said the provincial government.
right, and we talked to the table, not
I'm
conversation.
just going to have the water.
Thank you.
And my other question is the cost to the school district of the projects that the ministry has funded. What is the school district cost of these projects? Or does the funding cover all of the costs?
Yes, exactly. So how it works, and probably you know better the process, but for minor, so we have, again, 3 different pockets in this area. So we have the annual facility grant, we have the minor capital projects, and then we have the major capital projects. There are specific deadlines where we have to provide that information first to the board, because that is the way that we do it here, for what I have seen. So in May, we need to come to you and show your approval for specific projects to be included in the annual facility grant. And then we have to submit it to the Ministry of Infrastructure now. Then in June, we have to put together, I believe it's a capital, sorry, I get confused. I believe it's a capital, the major capital in June. And then in September is the minor capital. So basically, we submit it before you, then you approve it, we go with the Ministry of Infrastructure, and in the case of the minor capital, is that letter that we received normally in March, where they said, okay, the next step, and I will talk, actually, I will, if you don't mind, I will move to the next point in the agenda, is you need to notify your board, and the board, your board needs to approve the bylaw, capital bylaw, capital plan, where basically that document is giving instructions to the secretary treasurer to go ahead and sign what they call capital project funding agreement related to these projects. And also you give me instructions to go ahead and start the conversations and pay for those capital projects. So
Thank you.
Yeah, and we pass that to the trustee. But just exactly.
Right. So just to confirm, for the annual facility grant, the deadline is when we need to provide information to the Minister of Infrastructure is May 16. For major capital is June 30th. That is for the 26-27 school year, and then major should be September 30th, I believe.
September 30th, annual facility grant.
Oh, sorry. Major capital is June 30th, and then minor should be September 30th. So, sorry. So I think you.
Trustee Meyer.
Oh, you want me to read now?
Thank-
I thought somebody asked for something and I zoned it or something. Okay. Capital bylaw number 2025-26, BPFC 52-01, capital plan 2025-27. Whereas in accordance with section 142 of the School Act, the Board of Education of School District number 52 Prince Rupert, here after call for board, has submitted a capital plan to the Minister of Education, herein after called the minister, and the minister has approved the capital plan or has approved a capital plan with modifications. Now, therefore, in accordance with section 143 of the School Act, The board has prepared this capital bylaw and agrees to do the following. A, authorize the secretary treasurer to execute a capital project funding agreement related to the capital projects contemplated by the capital plan or the capital plan with modification. B, upon ministerial approval to proceed, commence the capital projects and proceed diligently and use its best efforts to complete each capital project substantially as directed by the minister. C, observe and comply with any order, regulation, or policy of the minister as may be applicable to the board or the capital project. And D, maintain proper books of account and other information and documents with respect to the affairs of the capital projects as may be prescribed by the minister. Now, therefore, the board enacts as follows. 1, the capital bylaw of the board for the 2025-26 capital plan as approved by the minister to include the supported capital projects specified in the letter addressed to the secretary treasurer and superintendent dated March 25th, 2025 is hereby adopted. And 2, this capital bylaw may be cited as school district number 52 Prince Rupert capital bylaw number 2025-26 CPSC 52-01. Read for the first time on the 15th day of April 2025.
And seconded trustee Beal. And all in favor, Willie? Wonderful, thank you.
Read a second time, the 15th day of April 2025.
Seconded trustee Belton, all in favor? So moved.
Read a third time, passed on the 15th day of April 2025.
Seconded trustee Beal, and all in favor. Great, so moved. And could you please note that trustee Sanchez was absent for the vote? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Point 7.5. March 2025 operations department report on page 31, sorry. But I will open the floor for the trustees in case of any question.
Trustee Horn.
I'd just like to thank the operations department, Kevin. Thank you very much for your department and the work that you guys do to keep the school maintaining and working together for our students. Thank you.
I'd actually like to acknowledge that,
Thank you. Just, was that complete?
Yes, thank you, sorry.
I thought he
Wonderful.
paused,
I did.
sorry.
I thought-
I'd just like to
Trustee
acknowledge
Beal?
you. I'd like to acknowledge you and the hard work you're doing. And I feel that I've heard nothing but good reports that you've taken over, since you've taken over, and that makes me very happy. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions regarding this report? Not seeing any. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin.
Okay, and the last point for me is 7.6 on page 32. Then you will find the March 2025 Information Technology Department report, and I will open the floor in case trustees have any questions.
Trustee Horn, and then I have some questions.
And for the IT department, I'd like to say very much thank you for the hard work that they do and getting our schools to the best possible educational environment for our students. Thank you very much.
Thanks, trustee.
I have a question and then trustee Beal.
Yeah.
When I add up the smart boards, I get 5. So I'm curious about the 9, my first question. And then I would love if we are able to do some kind of media release or expression of gratitude to Microsoft for all of these items that we've received. I don't know if that's a possibility.
I think I'll look in maybe there's calculation mistake, but we did in we order 9 total. So 4 has been out now, 5's remaining in stock to put that. I'm not sure about the release of Microsoft. This was a lawsuit against Microsoft.
Oh, right, thank you.
We're gonna say, I think
Maybe say a couple of fake lawyers.
And then could you explain to me the DNS migration?
Yeah, so DNS is a domain name services. So basically, it defines if you're going to google.com and the back end, Google will have a certain IP address, just like each one of us to identify who we are, we have a SIN number. So similarly to that, a domain will have one number associated either or multiple number associated with that domain. So currently we were using City West as our name server, meaning they would be our closest to resolve all our internet queries, whether we go to Google or ST52 or any of that website. That said, it was done quite a while back, and any DNS changes, for example, if I was to add any DNS security or any of the changes, I'll have to send a request to City West, and then they will have to execute that. So as an IT department, we didn't have the full control of that, and it was empirical that we moved that out to our control. And we do like to say thank you to City West for hosting for a very long time, but we did move successfully to the service provider of our domain in that.
Wonderful, thank you so much.
Can I ask?
I have trustee Beal and then trustee Dalton.
Okay, I'll ask you that after.
Yes.
So I guess my question here is like, I see that we've done a lot of replacements. So in the laptops that are we refurbishing them? What are we doing with laptops that are no longer applicable in the district?
That's a very good question. What we have tried to do a couple of years back is really stretch the life of the laptop by adding some more extra RAM and do that. So and so what we have noticed is some of this laptop will not be able to hold Windows 11. And it is challenging. We do have what we call Windows 10 long-term support corporation, one called LTSC version, which is still good till 2026, and some could be good as 2028. So we're trying to see the one that we're taking out what the need is and trying to put those Windows 10 long-term versions. So at least we're not going to the recycling and then giving back to the school or any department that are in need.
Okay, and the second part to that is, how do we track our laptops? Like, do you put asset numbers on them? Because I mean, without laptops being attached to, you know, or they're stationary or they can't be removed, how are we ensuring that those laptops are maintaining on school premises?
Yeah, so this is an excellent question. We're looking in many ways. Right now, we're working on an asset inventory, so we know what are our different asset inventory. And I like to thank this has been in sort of in conjunction with the finance department in terms of finding out. The other options that we're looking at is Microsoft Intune. Microsoft Intune is an application that you can put in Windows and sort of tells us where the location is being.
No, I haven't.
And yeah, so with that one, and also we have ways we have incorporated the hybrid join. So any desktop that we have, it is hybrid join to 365, where in Intune we can then look at the last location that device was being used based on different schools. We're also looking at DNS security that comes along with that, meaning if we have a laptop in the school, students takes it out, it then goes into the certain provider in order for them to have a safe browsing as they leave the school environment. So we're looking in many ways of tracking it and to improve the laptop tracking.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, trustee Dalton.
Yes, I'd like to know if there is a smart board that'll be going to the Roosevelt School.
Roosevelt School we have deployed already this spring break, we deployed one in library, which is the brand new one for the learning in the library one. As of now, I have not heard any request from the Roosevelt, but I know Roosevelt have requested for more laptops, which we have delivered last week, 10 new laptops, making it 25.
So was the smart board given to Roosevelt previously?
Yes.
Was that in another report?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions? Danny, thank you so much, Ganesh, for all of this and for your report.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, wonderful.
I'm done with them.
Thank you, Enrique, and thank you. Dan. Wonderful. Committee reports, finance and building. Trustee Meyer.
Yeah, I'm gonna let Superintendent Stella talk about the international student fees before we use the motion.
Right, so, thank you. Yeah. Trustee Christie, yeah. Just a point of clarification that international students does not mean an international student program. Students who have visas issued by a federal authority such as the Government of Canada are legally entitled to register for school in Canada. However, the provincial government does not pay us anything for those international students. Therefore, we have to charge the students. And I think we have 4. They are students who are boarding with families here. However, the fee has not changed that we charge for quite a while. So we're asking for an increase, and my accounting staff here will tell you the exact amount, but raising it from 17,000 something to 18,000 something.
17 to 18.
On the dot.
18 on the dot.
But I think that's big change last year as well.
Yep.
So just to clarify,
What
last
was
year.
it?
So what, would you share the change last year?
I think I have that one moment.
And I'm question while.
I see trustee Beal and then I have trustee Moore.
So for the 23-24 school year, it was 16,500. For the 24-25 school year, it was 17,000. And then for the 25-26 year, we're looking at 18,000.
Trustee Beal?
No, I was just, that was what I was gonna ask you. I don't think it's out of line. I would make a motion that we accept the increase to the international student fees.
We have a motion on the table, seconded trustee Meyer. And would you like to speak now, trustee Moore?
Are you good with speaking to your motion? First?
Oh, I really said what I had to say.
Yes, you'd mentioned that it hadn't increased in a while, but I've heard a couple of increases. Does that mean before that it hadn't increased in a while? And second part, you can answer together. Does the 18,000 reflect properly cost? And is it enough of an increase to cover what our cost would be?
It's a very difficult question to ask whether it covers our costs, but Brittany's gonna take a stab at it.
Okay, thank you, Brittany.
Yeah, that's a difficult question, but what this is actually based off of, per our policy, is an amount equal to the school district's average student funding for the previous school year, rounded up to the next $500 increment. So just for reference, this is policy 1220-10. So yeah, so what I can provide more detail, but really briefly, it's taking a look for next year. We look at the current year's funding that we received. So we look at the September 2024 enrollment-based funding, plus a special purpose funding provided by the ministry, and then divided by our September 2024 enrollment count.
Thank you.
Trustee Pucci?
I'm in support, just so that people are comfortable. These are increases of less than 3%, which are less than inflation and less than has been inflation for the last several years. So if there are concerns, the increases are less than the actual inflationary pressures that we're finding out in the public. And so I'm comfortable that even though it has been a couple of years in a row that we've had these increases, these are under 3%, and we've seen inflation 3-4 years ago at 7%, and the end of 2024 and into 2025 we're still above 2%, floating around 2.3 to 2.7, which is approximately where this number comes in. So I'm very comfortable in the pricing.
Thank you, trustee Meyer.
I just had a procedural question, and maybe Brittany. If it's in a policy that we're always, the formula for that is like an automatic, why would we be voting on it? I just don't remember voting it.
Yeah.
I don't remember voting it on in the past. I'm just wondering if the policy is set forth. Is that just like an automatic thing or?
I don't believe that we voted on it in the past, is that right? Yeah, I
Yeah.
think this was more just an information item.
Oh, okay.
I think I was gonna say.
Okay, maybe I looked at it wrong. Okay, I was confused.
So there is a motion currently, right? So we will just
So we're-
retract that motion.
Yeah, because it does state in the policy, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful. Please.
Just to provide one more piece of detail too, just so everyone's aware. For students that are attending half year, it is 65% of the full year fee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
That's it for the committee.
Thank you. Framework for enhanced student learning, trustee Horn.
You did not have a meeting, I believe. Sorry. There was, I didn't go to it.
You did not have a meeting. Great. And did you have anything to share on that one?
Yeah, I was just going to, the framework for enhancing student learning, and I go on about this, I feel like a broken record sometimes, is a cycle. And so you would have heard in Andrew's report today that schools are doing the student learning survey. So that's a piece of data that we're collecting right now, and that will come to us in July. We'll get that information. And then we'll be looking at it with the framework group again in the fall to see how our students are feeling. But this is the studentsuccess.gov.bc.ca site that the ministry provides. On this site, they provide public facing data. So Dinesh, if you just go on view all school districts, you can choose Prince Rupert and then our own. So this is, you would just scroll down to the P's and find Prince Rupert, or you can type it in at the top if you want.
Got it.
And then there's the report for Prince Rupert. And in here, there's all kinds of information. So there's that one report that I've been sharing at the framework meetings. And basically this is that report pulled out into little sections so that you could look at just one part of it. So like the demographics, our financial information's on there. The context, the socioeconomic, enrollment over time. There's all kinds of great information, number of students across the grades. So, people ask, how many students have we got? Well, it's actually always available to you if you want to look it up on the studentsuccess.gov.bc.ca site. And then, Dinesh, if you could go back and you can see completion rates, we're going to talk about that at the next board meeting because we have exciting news about that. There's all the intellectual, all the data. Then there's the student learning survey. That data will be last year's data, not this year's yet. Talks about wellness and all kind. We've looked at that data with the framework group. And then down at the bottom, we've looked at, we talked about the transition data. There's the how are we doing report. We've looked at that. The part that I had never noticed is pretty new is this FSA item analysis data. So I think at the last board meeting, someone was asking me about that. And so if you could just click on view the data. This data, you can scroll down. This is all public. Maybe just stay at the top for now because this doesn't pertain to us. You can go up a little bit for me, Dinesh, sorry to be bossy. And a little bit further up. You can see that you can choose which year you want to look at, which grade you want to look at, which subject, literacy and numeracy. So it will be grade 10s as well as grade 4s and 7s. You can look at English or the French immersion students. You can look at gender. You can look at ELL learners, and you can look at Indigenous learners. All that data is there. You can even find out probably per school as well if you're. I'm not sure if they'll, because of masking, I'm not sure if they go. I looked at that, I couldn't find by school. Yeah, I think probably they're careful about that because you can identify students because it's only one grade. I know. Yeah, so the cohorts are small. But yeah, this is, it's just interesting to have a look at this. And what you'll notice is that there are trends across the province. So what we're seeing in our school district, they're seeing across the province. It's not new to us. It's not just us. Yeah. So,
And of course, as you know, we're working on, we've got some good news about literacy, and so that's gonna be a focus in the next couple months is getting, working with people, with our stakeholders, rights holders on our literacy plan. So be listening for that.
I remember you saying in the festival meeting, talking about how the data shows across Canada.
Yeah, and worldwide.
And worldwide, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the high performing systems group, there's a group that is looking at countries around the world. And they're finding that our students are, we have declines in numeracy and literacy worldwide.
Trustee Pucci?
I just would like to share that I don't think you sound like a broken record. I'm very appreciative of this. This data, along with the annual report that we post to the website, I think are hidden gems for the public to understand the success at which we have and what's going on. I think any opportunity that you can draw us to the data and reference this information, and again the annual report is very, very important, and it provides context to all of these decisions and all of these meetings, and so I just really appreciative that you bring this up, and you hopefully will bring it up even more regularly.
Yes, I agree. Thank you, Trustee Pucci. Is there a date? Will the large framework be meeting again before the end of the year?
It usually doesn't, but we may, in a different space, in a different way.
Format. Exciting. I look forward to hearing about that. Wonderful. Any further questions regarding framework for enhanced student learning? Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Sandy.
Great. So provincial council?
Not met since last meeting, and we'll meet at AGM.
Thank you. Sorry, I remembered something I wanted to add to in camera. Policy committee meeting?
Policy committee,
Yes,
Yes.
please.
So, we met on April 7, as you can see, policies were sent out for discussion from stakeholders. And so we have a motion to approve policy 6280, district conflict of interest policy, and 6290, trustee conflict of interest policy.
I'm a seconder for that motion. Trustee Beal, did you care to speak to that?
I would ask Andrew if there were any changes made to these policies from stakeholders or suggestions.
Nothing came in.
Thank you.
Yes. And I would just like to be added on as regrets for that meeting. Sure, thank you. Any, we have a motion on the table. Any other questions? Great, motion to approve. All in favor, thank you.
And then, due to report from KPMG, we were looking at role of superintendent. Now, if everybody wishes to go into the KPMG report, organizational structure was the part that we were trying to do. And they're suggesting that board look at policies for role of the board, role of the superintendent, role of the secretary treasurer, all of which I believe is the board should decide, not the policy committee. So I've sent some suggestions out from the meeting, and the discussion in the meeting when we went to look at these was for the same, came to the same conclusion. That the board probably should be meeting in some kind of meeting where we can determine how the board wishes to proceed, because the report we received from auditor says that we don't have a strong enough policies in those three areas, and we also haven't been able to do proper of a superintendent, what's it called,
Evaluation
of the superintendent, and a policy that states the role of the superintendent better will lead the board in asking the right questions and showing the board in how superintendent does his job. So I'd just like to put that forward to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. And I would like to share that I love being on policy committee, and I also find we spoke about this today, that it is a hard role to then come to this meeting and debate as a trustee in the policy when I have this role also as chair, because of the dynamics of the role, but what I would share is where I stand is that by providing something that the committee has created to the board, it is the space that the board can debate it. It is where the board can ask questions about it. And I'm a big believer that we can't ask a question that we don't know is a question. So if we think the current policy that we have encompasses everything that it could, not knowing what a policy from another district could look like or should look like or may look like, it's really hard at this table for the board to say that's a fulsome policy when they don't know what other policies could look like. So I think by the committee at least bringing something to present to this board is a space that this board can then have discussion. That's all. And I really would also want to say that it's not personal, this policy, any of the policies. It is the role of the board, the role of whoever is the board of the day, the role of whoever is the super of the day, and the role of whoever is the ST of the day. Wishes then of you.
Yes,
Trustee Horn?
I wish, that's what I wish, that the board would meet and do all three policies at once. It might be the best way to do it. And also that the policy committee move forward and leave these three alone. That's my belief and was the belief at the meeting. Move forward through to the next section of the auditor report and leave this for the board to determine.
With what kind of a time frame?
Whatever the board decides.
That's an open-ended.
Oh, the board to
Can I
decide.
make a motion?
You certainly can.
Word it. I'd like to make a motion that maybe the board chair puts out a,
Doodle?
like a doodle to see perhaps when we can meet, and then we can sit and have a working session for these three policies.
I would ask, do you see there being room on the working session, or that would be fulsome?
Yeah, no, we can do that in the working session.
Yeah. that
So
would-
the
Yeah.
proposed working
So
session that
May.
we've already spoke of in May,
Yeah.
there looks like there would be room and space to do this as well.
So for clarity, we're not moving forward with these two policies.
That's what I
tonight.
heard from
Exactly,
trustee
okay,
Moore.
but there's no three policies here, so just for clarity purposes, the third policies deal with the secretary treasurer. And is that
What I would,
correct?
what I'm hearing is the policy for review is not going out for review.
No, there's no.
Right, there's no
motion.
policy
I
for.
I understand that, Madam Chair. What I'm asking is he keeps referring to three policies. There's only two on here.
No,
so-
there's only one.
There's only one on
Oh, there's
there.
only actually, well,
Yeah,
there's,
6310 is all that we have here. And so he is saying that that needs to be put with the role of the board and the role of the ST. He would like that all to happen at a working session together.
okay, thanks.
So I'll withdraw my motion.
Thank you.
And in answer to your question to trustee Beal, the role of the superintendent was the one chosen to bring forward to the meeting, which is why it's in the minutes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so with no need for a motion there. That means there's no other business, and so that was it for the meeting, so thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. District Steering Committee. Trustee Horn,
With,
sorry, District Technology, I forgot your word.
Put my paper in with
Oh,
everything else. District Technology Committee did not sit in the past, that's why.
Is that true? Old business?
None.
New business?
None.
And information items, Good Friday is this Friday, Easter Monday is April 21st, there is no instruction, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Professional Development Day regionally, April 25th. We're heading down for the ECSTA GM 25 and 26. Professional Development Day is May 16th. I would, Victoria Day is May 19th, and then I would add into this May 20th is when we're having the first reading of the ABC meeting, the amended schedule. And then our Board of Education meeting is May 20th. Wonderful. And we would not have a presentation on that day due to the fulsomeness of the meeting. So just why there isn't a presentation, that is why. And you had a question, Trustee Warren?
Yeah, I'd like to, from earlier, congratulate the jazz band for how they did in the competition. And also the Indigenous Education Committee getting a shout out from another district coming to see how we do things. So I think that's fantastic that we get to share how we do things and hopefully help them with what they're doing. So shout out to Indigenous Education Department.
Thank you, Trustee Horn. And I would love to say before we go to the question and answer period, that moving into budget is always a hard time. And we have big decisions to make, as we know. And I feel I can speak for the board in that we absolutely appreciate everybody in our district and all that they do. And if I think I can say this, if we were funded as we should be, we wouldn't be put under these pressures every single year to make changes that really affect kids and really affect people. And it's not easy work that we do at this table, and we really do, I would say, appreciate absolutely everyone, and we're very aware of the hard work that happens, and everywhere our district reaches, from everyone in our district, I know we hold kids at the center, and that's why we do this work that we do. From who's sitting at this table today and who's in the audience and who's on the call, to every department, to everybody. And I really appreciate, and we hear from the board often how much the board appreciates everybody. And it is absolutely heartfelt work that everyone does, and I'm so sorry that we aren't funded in a way that we should be. That these board meetings and budget time isn't a time of celebration and what we're adding to our district. And it's looking at what we can reduce. So I acknowledge everybody for the work that they do, and we are so grateful for all of you. So thank you. A 10-minute question and answer period. Any questions relating to the agenda? Please.
So as you're all aware, our district currently has a superintendent and assistant superintendent, as you know. And so just wanted to discuss that quickly as it relates to the budget and that conversation. And considering that maybe one or both of those people are maybe nearing retirement and an interest for, yeah, if they so choose to do that. How would the assistant superintendent role fit into that discussion that you're having about the policies about the superintendent role, secretary treasurer role? And is that something that you would consider changing in the future?
And could you introduce yourself for our, please?
Sorry, Kyla Reagan, I'm the president of the PRDT.
Thank you so much. Would you care to speak to that?
Certainly. Well, this touches into not what the superintendent may want, but the direction they receive from the board. Based on the budget, the number of positions that can be funded. As you know, the Ministry of Education requires a certain level of staffing, and apparently we're funded for that. So as you know, you must have a superintendent by the act. You must have a director of instruction, and you must have a secretary treasurer. Nobody else. Now, I don't know who's going to teach all the kids, but that's the minimum. So the board takes that into account when they look at budget.
Thank you. Any further questions? Yes,
question through the chair to information technology. Just wondering about Hartley Bay and the situation in Hartley Bay and if that's gonna be approached.
Yes, thank
So
you.
I would just ask, that wasn't in our agenda,
Yeah.
so we
Can't
can't
talk about it.
that at this. I'm not aware of anything in our agenda about Hartley Bay and technology.
Oh, just well, I just thought because of the district technology report, like they reported on what they were doing, and I was just wondering how Hartley Bay fit into that.
And Hartley Bay wasn't in our report, correct? Thank you. Any further questions? Going once. Twice. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this evening, and we are adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.